The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
It's also the yard site of Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim. Who's Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim? Anyone know Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim? So if you go to Tzras, there's different places that we go to, right? The Rizal, the Beis Yosef, Chan and her 7 children. Right away at the bottom of the mountain, a little bit separated, and you walk up. Now they made these stairs, pretty scary stairway. You walk up, and there's the Mitzvah of Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim. Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim was a Talmud of the Baal Tanya. Okay? Lived about 185 years ago. Maybe also. We don't know much about him except that he had an unbelievable life of Yisurim. He basically never had a good day in his life. And before he was Nifter, I think he was Nifter on Erev Shabbos, and he was suffering in terrible pain, and he said, tell anybody, I'm giving away my Yisurim for Klal Yisrael, he said. And anyone that comes to daven by me, Erev Shabbos at Chatzos, that's when he was Nifter, he said, I'm going to try to daven for him. There's an Indian, people try to go to Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim, I think after Chatzos on Erev Shabbos, even though normally after Chatzos you don't go to a Beis HaChayim. And it's all the way at the bottom in Tzfas, you go up there. So there's a Yid, he lives in Bnei Brak, and he's frustrated. I'm saying these stories about Shidduchim, it should be a school for everyone. And he said, he tells his wife he wants to go daven by Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim for a shidduch for his daughter, because they had gone through some disappointments. So his wife said she's coming along, but the news is talking about a big storm, a snowstorm in the north, in Sfas. Maybe it's not a good night to go. He said, fake news. So they got onto a real bus, and they're driving, and as they're driving, it starts raining, and the roads are getting slippery, and the driver says, Shum Bayah, he's driving to Tzfas. And the roads are getting more and more slippery, and the snow is getting thicker. He goes, Shum Bayah, and then the bus spins out of control, and the driver says, Bayah. So he manages to hobble over to a gas station, and he tells them to get off. They said, what are we going to do here? He said, I don't know, I can't drive. Take us back to Meirach. I can't. So now they're in this gas station. The last thing they need is gas, and they don't know what to do. So all of a sudden there's this man, he's trying to start a Jeep. So this Yid Ben Yamin goes over to him. He says, you going to Tzfas? He says, I was, but my Jeep is not starting. He says, maybe in the Schus, we're going to daven Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim. You take my family to Tzfas, your Jeep will start. He's looking at him. I tried everything else. The booster's not working. You know what I mean? The voltage regulator is not working. The battery is not working. Yeah. So they climb in, and the Jeep goes to life. So they're riding to Tzfas in the snowstorm. He tells them, who are you going to visit in Tzfas? He says, we're going to the Beis HaChayim. He says, you're kidding me? How are you going to find anything now? It's in this storm. There's a blizzard. Anyway, he makes it to the Beis HaChayim, the bottom of the hill. He tells them, you guys want to come to my house maybe? Because, no. They get out in the snowstorm. You can't see an inch ahead of you. He said, how in the world are we going to find this? What did you do, Binyamin? And he's like, I don't know. From the distance, they see someone coming. See someone coming in a Beis HaChayim, middle of the night. That's not so gishmak. Right? You know that story, right? Guys all alone in a cemetery, somebody's coming. He says, don't be scared. Shh. He says, don't be scared. He says, when I was alive, I used to be scared also. Come with me, he's not going to be scared. And, but this man shows up, and he says, what are you doing here now? He said, we want to go to Reb Leibele Bal Yisurim. He said, we're pretty much Bal Yisurim ourselves now. He says, follow me. He follows them. They literally bang into the steps. And he walks them up the stairs. They don't even seen the stairs. And they're saying, tell him, he says, take your time. He's saying, tell him along with them. And when they finish, he guides them down the stairs. And now what? He says, can you get us a ride back to Bnei Brak? He says, let's try. And there's no cars on the road. From the distance, they see this white taxi approaching a minute. And he stops them. And they ask the driver, can you take us now to Bnei Brak? He goes, that means yes. You should know. You know Israeli, but you have to pay a little more. That's what it means in Israeli taxi language. That's what it means. So they get in and they want to thank him. They say, we want to thank the guy. They can't find him. His wife says, very strange. I don't even see the footsteps in the snow. Okay, because the wind blew it over. Anyway, they make it back to Bnei Brak alive. And the next morning, he's telling people he thinks he had Gili Elio. They're saying, right. No, I'm serious. They go, that's the problem. You're serious. Yeah. So he's a Talmud of Rav Osner. So he goes into Rav Osner. He says, he doesn't Ma'aser Shaya Kachaya. And he said, I had Gili. Was it Elio? And Rav Osner says, go home, get a good day's sleep. That took the air out of his balloon. So he goes home. He goes to sleep. Middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. banging on his door. So Vosler's Gabbai is there. He says, the Rav is calling you. 3 o'clock in the morning, he goes running over. He says, I just had a dream. Rabbi Leibel Abal Yisurim, this is what he writes there. Rabbi Leibel Abal Yisurim came to me in a dream. They said, Hayatachin, that I chadchaveh gemacht. Taka wasn't Eliyahu Navi, but it was him. Why did I take the air out of your balloon? So I'm calling you now in the middle of the night. I want to be a Mesakenim. Okay? So, I don't know how this works, how we're Zoichet in Neshamas, but I can tell you one thing. That a lot of times in life we feel like we're lost in a storm. What did I do? I made such a foolish decision. I'm stuck. Point of no return. The Eibusher says, you try to do the right thing, I'm going to show you the way.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org